Welcome back, everybody. The first map was an absolute thrashing by Fnatic. 16-2 win over Virtus.pro on Train. Now moving on to the second, we're going to have to see if VP can bounce back, keep some of that form that had them starting out in a good place through the early portions of the season. It's going to be on Mirage, though, boys.
Yeah, and these guys did play Mirage in Vegas, and Fnatic, VP actually came out on top, and that's where Snacks actually tore them a new proverbial at that point. He actually looked very strong indeed. He's actually really strong on this map. It's probably one of his absolute best. This is when he's like, he'll main AWP on this as well on the CT side, and he'll actually be almost every single place on the map, and he's very, very good at clutching on this one as well. I feel like they can bounce back. It's obviously 16-2, horrible result to kick things off. Might be in the first game of the evening, I have no idea. But I feel like VP can actually come back and win this one. I don't think that's going to affect them too much.
Yeah, I mean, the first game of the evening does usually go pretty rough. We found that out. We found that out this week on the ESL Pugs.
So Chad, you want to
tell me about that, Chad.
Do you think they can bounce back, Jason?
Listen, you can't just ask questions that sound intelligent. That's my job. You answer my questions.
Yeah, but you can analyze as well.
Yeah, I can. I actually do think they can bounce back. Obviously, it's VP. You always know that they can do it. Also, the 16-2s are easy. We always talk about how easy it is. Those are very quickly to wipe off your memory. It's much more difficult if it's like a 16-14 to get over that. But yeah, so I have VP. This is another map where they've always been very, very good on. They kind of invented how a lot of teams play this map with that kind of mid-control style that they like to play. Very aggressive on both sides of the map.
Yeah, well, so before in the pre-show of Train, I was talking about if you give the map territory to VP and you don't try and pick them off early, they're just going to suffocate you and slowly pinch you in your CT positions. I actually have a clip of that where they did it at, I think it was IEM Katowice against Cloud9.
You caught one of their games at Katowice.
Yeah, so if we're having a look here, you can see this really bad setup, first of all, by Cloud9. All three of them playing in the site. Skadoodle was only playing mid for a few seconds. This means they're expecting a rush. That doesn't happen. Skadoodle goes over to the B site. Now we have absolutely no mid information for Cloud9. VP are like, thank you very much. We'll take that any day of the week. And they're just slowly going to walk. They were probably expecting to take a duel at this point. They're going to boost Neo into window. He's not going to find anybody. And they're just going to continue to pinch onto A. This is the bit I love. As Pasha picks, Snacks picks at the same time, they're going to push Automatic back from the firebox and straight into the line of sight of Taz. He gets that information, picks out, good night, Automatic. And then they just slowly suffocate the bomb site now. They've got Neo and City Spawn stopping rotations. You've got you have a player coming from Connector, a couple of players coming from the A ramp, and they're just able to make those frags, take the bomb site, get it down. This is what I mean. You need to make sure you pest the VP, and we did see that on Train, you know, like Henry mentioned, the Ivy aggression. If you can do that, VP lose key elements in their machine.
I think considering what we saw on Train, Fnatic would be quite pumped up for this one. They look like they're better across the board individually right now. I think why would you stop doing that aggression on the CT side?
It'll definitely be there,
Mirage lends itself to the start of the round. It's like one of the few maps you have left. You have a lot of options to start the round, pushing up towards middle, going aggressive in B halls, going for the first pick towards Palace as well. Why would they stop that if they're winning those duels?
Especially considering if JW is going to be playing the same way. We've slowly seen him progress back to some of the older shape, and with the AWP, if he's going to be that proactive and that mobile, that's going to be so very dangerous for VP.
Yeah. He's the mid player, JW. He likes to play in the middle of the map, but they also have Dennis as the connector player or the other A player. So what it means is if Dennis or JW get good spawns for Palace or mid and they want to go super aggressive, they just mix the AWP up between the two of them. They can actually even run double AWPs in that regard, and then you have Crims as that A bomb site anchor who's always going to make frags there. So their defense on that A side of the map is very strong.
What about Fnatic? Well, they're a team that's going to be obviously a little bit looser. We're going to see a T side out of them this time, which is going to be nice.
Hopefully. Are we sure? Because there's a knife at the start. You never know.
Is it a knife to start? I don't think it's a knife to start.
I don't think there's a knife, Henry.
There is.
There is a knife?
Yeah.
Oh, you probably watched the knife because you're on the Go TV.
We don't get that kind of information.
Well, Henry just dropped a bomb here.
Nice. Really good tie-in.
Anyway.
Okay, so if we see a T side.
If we see a T side, yeah. What was the question, sorry?
I mean, what are we going to expect out of Fnatic? Like
this is like, well, most teams play this map in quite a similar fashion, right? You obviously have the set pieces at the very start of the round. You go towards A, towards B, or you're just doing that standard kind of, as that we saw that pistol, that's kind of iconic to play the way on the T side, going towards the mid pressure, smoking off towards window, connector, waiting for the CT aggression to come in, and then you go into your either pincer towards the B side or you're kind of splitting towards A. It's difficult to say where Fnatic will go with that one. They can go for some faster stuff as well. We know you can do lots of contact plays towards the A side. Fnatic do that a lot, to be fair. You just walk straight up towards the A ramp and towards Palace at the same time. You're walking in with just one flashbang and you have one player towards connector maybe as well.
One thing I like about this map, especially Fnatic on, is it lends itself to a lot of clutch situations. That's where you can really see the small group of Fnatic have some success. One other thing I'm excited to see is how much money Lauren's going to have to donate to the swear jar. She is going to be your caster. Pansy and Uber, take it away.
Yeah, I think we need a donation counter at the bottom of the screen like that as well, just like all those lovely streams we love. So, it's time for Virtus.pro to clamber out of the dumpster, shake off the remnants of our notes on Fnatic, which never seem to matter, and jump back on the horse here for Mirage. Lauren, any thoughts? No swear words, please.
This is some bullshit.
10 euros, anybody got 20,
oh, no,
21,
the problem is that if
twice.
I don't swear, then I'm just like hindering charity. This just encourages me. This is awful. I try my best, and now I have to swear. All right, guys, thanks for that. Nicely, Chad, using his time well there, building the swear jar. Appreciate it, Chad. Beautifully done.
So Lauren's going to have to go back to observing to pay for all the swearing she's doing now. This is great.
I'm absolutely chuffed. Can't wait. But yeah, no, this is actually a fun map for me. I like this because VP, it's all been highlighted on the desk, but they did set such a standard on this map for such a long time, and they still have so many key elements that can really come alive throughout this one. The fact is that Snacks is one of them. Taking mid control is another, and how good they are at it, how they are so dominant when they do on their T side. And also how good they are at denying it on the CT. So this is something I really want to be looking at for them. But then Fnatic, you kind of play into their hands. They like
what
that
are the
pick
odds
style,
of
right?
Fnatic, a la JW or Olofmeister, actually ceding mid control on either half of the map?
That's the point, isn't it? Because VP's best style on occasion, I feel, at least on this map, is how they like to play mid. How they can be quite aggressive on it on occasion, but Fnatic plays really well against that. So it kind of plays into that very, very Fnatic-esque style. And Dennis with the Deagle, why give him any more help? But this, here we go. Look how active VP are being. Look at this, straight away through underpass, 2 players getting there. So they're going to trade out. That's fine, though. They've got information. They're going to force Fnatic to make their move towards A, and then they can play retake with 4. They've got a kit on Neo. It's still okay, as long as they don't lose numbers needlessly. And look how passive Bialy and Taz are being. That's nice. Taz is a little far forward on the edge of that smoke, which could be a problem, but he's still going to find the frag towards Flusher, and then Bialy starts to bite back in. Now, they know the plant's not on default. They know it's going to be for short, and this retake is sublime from VP.
A very mobile, a very active VP across the map there. A lot of information gained as well with that trade over towards the B site. And the defuse comes in pretty comfortably there. 2 for Neo for that round. Bialy, Taz, Pasha all 1 apiece there. Obviously, Snacks, that initial player, a bit of a burn offering for Virtus.pro to establish control of the map. And Fnatic were quickly surrounded and brought to account.
Yeah, that was lovely. Happy with that. This is the VP I want to see. This is the VP we didn't get to see on train. If you listen closely
to Lauren casting, you hear her clap her hands quite often and tap the table. Yeah, she does this a lot. So
I get excited by this stuff, and Fnatic going to take the straight-up man fight in mid. And to be fair, looking how VP are playing this, they're like, all right, you guys can do this. We're fine with that. They've got one P250.
man fight, Lauren.
It is just a straight-up brawl, though. Look at it. It's like, well, we're just going to wander straight up. We've only got Glocks and 1 P250. And it's not gone too well for them, but they've done it. They dinged Neo, so they can force him back. Snacks is in a bit of a predicament, but he's still alive and kicking. He's making great deals of money. If you wanted to see him on an AWP, you might just have your chance.
How he gets away with that is beyond me there. He managed to get behind the box and, well, VP get another one on the board here. No kill, just the 1 kill, should I say, actually, from Olofmeister there. That was in that first round of the match. So this is the start the VP needed. Moses mentioned on the desk that it's a little bit easier to shake off those, big losses and not the close ones here. But there's an AWP.
That's what we want to be seeing. Snacks on the AWP, where does he take it? Known for versatility, something that Device takes the crown for, but he's certainly not far off, especially on this one. So just going to take it towards window, straight up fight again. No smoke towards top mid there. Fnatic going for the straight 1-to-1 fight. It doesn't work out. Deep smoke towards connector. You can now peek above it and have some relative safety from short, but players walk through it. You're still against Fnatic. They are ballsy when they play like this, and Bialy going to trade out. Snacks has found Flusher again. They know Olaf is in mid. They can still hear him walking around, so Olaf and Dennis have to pull themselves back into this one. The bombs are a ramp, and Olofmeister's got a bit of play, but there you go. Neo just steps out into it, and VP are not allowing mid-control. They denied 3 players a step towards it there at various occasions, and Dennis is all alone.
Yeah, more than just the player from window or Snacks going for that peek from connector. There was a player on short as well, and Pasha was even there in the middle of the map. Fnatic given no egress whatsoever towards the rest of the map, and now it will be Dennis on his own. He'd love a plant here, but again, disappointing round for Fnatic to lose out when they bring the AKs in.
For him to win this, he's got 55 seconds. Let's talk about his options. He needs to find at least 1-1v1. That's the first game plan here. Find that, and then maybe it's game on. But the one person you don't want to walk into is probably Snacks. Right now, when he's on the AWP, he's feeling confident. He's sitting on a nice scoreline already. He's had a big round there. You just don't really want that. And Fnatic made limited amounts of impact, so their money's actually pretty dire. No plant to boot either, which is a huge issue now. But they can go into the Deagles, they can go into the P250s, they can try and get something building, get a pick or two, maybe get some guns away, do some sort of damage. VP's money isn't rock solid. It's still only going into round 4, so there's a chance for a little bit of back and forth here. But Taz this time in the window. Snacks to be playing through connector.
And then Neo 1 short if he needs to be.
Still got that nice 3-man play towards mid, and it's dangerous to be in connected like this with Snacks, but then Taz is there as well, so they shouldn't lose out on too much, and Neo can just spot. Now Neo's good as well, doing the jump. If he does the smoke towards short, he can jump up on towards the, I guess it's almost like scaffolding. If you play it kind of like the ladder room, he can have a peek across, likes doing a bit of that. And Fnatic are waiting for opportunities, and it's not a bad plan at all. If VP get a little too confident, if they want to get punished for it, that's how they do it, but Asher doesn't control it well enough. Crims breaks through, and now Neo has to come into gear. Forces him to fall away from short.
Yeah, and Olaf was waiting an underpass there as well. All Fnatic wanted was a trade in towards apartments. They get that, they can keep pushing.
Yeah, but Neo's a bit of a master of this, but he is very low on HP. He's got 2 players on the bomb site now, and a plant's all they want, and Crims is going to get more than that. He finds the kill towards Neo, and now we've got a bomb plant and a 2v3, but Taz on the retake is coming in strong, but it's Dennis. But the bomb's not there for him. This is a problem. They do have a kit on Bialy. They can defuse it straight. Yeah, bomb's not even applied for short. So Dennis can probably get a... the gun was pretty deep in towards short, and Bialy's going to be watching that like a hawk. So he does at least get an M4. So that's not too bad. Bit of a recovery. He can drop someone out if he wants to. Or he can just stick on himself and keep some money in the bank for the later rounds. But the thing is they're keeping the money a little humble now for VP. It's not runaway just yet. The double AWP coming out now as well. Pasha and Snaps.
And this is really interesting now because we're looking at Fnatic because they've also got 2 AWPs. Olafmeister and JW both buy them up. So double AWP set up here. Let's see if Fnatic try and stamp their seal over mid. And if VP allow them to do so. Well, so far, so good for Fnatic. Olafmeister finds Snacks, attempts a peek via connector. No one's in mid-window right now for VP.
You're playing a dangerous game if you're going to try and dance to the tune Fnatic play. If you want to play into their hands, be sure you're going to nail it because these boys don't miss. And Olafmeister's going to prove that true. Pasha's going to at least get the angle now towards the B apartments. JW has backed away. But now Fnatic have map control finally, or mid control, should I say. They haven't got anyone actively facing it. JW's found Neo through the wall. That was the wall bang, I think, on towards the car. You can just see, it should be Neo's body just off towards the truck on B. That's a nice little cheeky pickup for him. Actually, where was it? It was just behind him. Wow, that was just a
These
bandy
AWPs
shot.
have done all the damage this round, especially for Fnatic. Neo and Snacks both being felled by them, and Taz got legged, I believe, by JW in the middle of the map before he dropped. Very important now is Fnatic will select their bomb site. It's going to be Viali and Taz lying in wait over a day. Pasha's quite a long way away from this situation, so probably just needs to keep eyes over on B.
Viali's integral to this. Crims can throw it, completely askew. Because if they play through connector, Bialy is so vulnerable. But if they play through ramp, he gets played in. Now, this is interesting. How does he play this one out? Do they check for it? They molly it out. He tries to take the fight, but Flusher wins it. And that's round done. Pasha can't play back into this. He's got to know that, and it's time to back away. Their money wasn't phenomenal. It was decent for the buys. If they'd won this and strung together, no worries. But the problem is it's a little lower now, so you want to be a little bit careful. You don't want to give anything else away, and also you don't want to give out that double AWP either. So Olaf's going looking for it. He can probably just play that off towards Crims if he gets it, or maybe just want to take that AWP away from Pasha. So Pasha has to be careful. If he scopes in, that can get heard now.
Obviously a very quick scope for Pasha to get the kill, and it won't be enough. Olaf does catch him out there as well. And we're talking a lot about AWPs in this game, and maybe for those that are watching at home that sort of don't watch a lot of CS, maybe more than other games, purely because of the way we know that Fnatic like to play. When a team buys double AWP up immediately as soon as they have enough money, no less on the T side of the map, you can tell that they really want to play around picks and they want to challenge out the opposition AWPers for control of those important egress points. On this map, it's mid. It gives you so many options. If Fnatic know VP like to play around it, they're going to push back in the same way and fight fire with fire.
This is a bit cheeky. Going to catch him with their pants down there. They're going to find one out of it, but still a good bit of work. Means JW could have picked up the AWP if he fancied it. He doesn't. He's not going to be wandering out there yet. He's underpass, so he's got a long way to go if he wants that AWP back in his hands. But other players can pick it up from Fnatic. Let's be real here. And Fnatic being very passive. Look at Dennis' position. He's all the way back in T-spawn, waiting to see if there's any ramp aggression coming out from VP, which there is, but nowhere near to that extent. And here comes Pasha. He's going to hear Dennis. And the bomb is just to his right. This is massive. If Pasha can get this kill... no, Dennis way too aware. Not going to let that one go at all. And then you're left with Bialy and Neo.
And Bialy's going to be struggling here. JW, you're going to be able to catch him out there, who's opted for the AK for the most part of this round, by the way. There were 2 AWPs on Fnatic. They actually opted to play with 4 AKs for a time, or 4 rifles, should I say. Again, sometimes with mobility and you want to play a bit of contact, not terrible to trade up those AWPs for a rifle for that case. But Neo, last man inside the palace here. Very little to work with. Yeah,
and Fnatic have pretty much checked everywhere else. Crims is checking deep ramp, so it kind of eliminates where he might be if they think about it. Why has no one checked this? It was the one place they didn't really check on, and He almost got away with a little bit of a cheeky moment then, but no, dealt with in the end by Dennis with the deagle, so that's no problem. Good recovery from Fnatic now. Getting that second round on the board for them is massive as well. They get stabilized, they get a bit of good money building behind them. You've got 9k now on Dennis, that's great for him. Is he sticking on the AWP? Has he got a spawn? Yeah, he's got the mid spawn, so he could just take that one straight out, try and take a man-to-man fight maybe against Snax, who's been playing out of Connector a lot. Maybe Snax goes to window.
Snax is a fast spawn too.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle. Dennis not known for his AWPing, but he might be able to get a shot going here. Good flash comes in. Actually, a fast flash coming out, but Fnatic are picking up the pace. They're going straight into Connector. Taz and Bialy better be ready.
Taz trying to get the spray down, traded out through. Bialy knows there's someone in Palace, but he needs to deal with a more immediate threat at Connector. Pasha at least is able to equalize the numbers somewhat, and that's Snax from CT. Quick pick in towards Crims, finds him. Now he can watch Connector. Dennis had his back turn. No way he's going to get out of that situation, and Virtus.pro reassert themselves in this round. Flusher in the smoke, very low. Does have the bomb, but again, it's a foregone conclusion almost for this man pushing out on towards the side. VP back in it, strike back quickly, and Snax with 2 from CT with the AWP, a big part of it.
Yeah, and I think is it Bialy's? I'm thinking it's Bialy doing that fast flash towards middle straight away whenever Snax gets that window
it's why
peek.
he can make that second peek and go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple rounds ago,
again.
Snax goes for a very fast early peek, so fast that you probably don't get any information about who's at mid except the player you kill, right? It's very fast. But that time goes to that second peek
No,
there.
it's Taz.
Where does he set it? He throws it over the top.
Yeah. It's just a fast mid flash that allows Snax to have a bit of safety on the angle, which is really nice. It's a nice little twist. I was wondering if it was Bialy, but it wasn't. He only had one flash and he's not used his, so he's perfectly fine. But it just allows a little bit of extra play to come out, and it's very quick. But Neo, Snax, and Taz can be focusing towards middle a little bit here. And for Fnatic, there's just a slow build. They've got a bit of a, not actually, well, I guess it is almost a default, you look at it. You've got Dennis on ramp, Crims through Palace. They're not leaving anywhere unattended, but Olofmeister is playing a very dangerous game.
He's gone deep now. Obviously, no intent to boost at the stage. Olaf wants to just to hang tight for the moment here. When Flusher makes his way down mid, if he can ascertain that mid window is clear, then they're going to be able to get sort of a two-man situation, maybe a trade. That'll be the best that Fnatic really should realistically hope for, trying to pressure into Connector. But VP have got Snax and Taz watching angles here. You can see Snax can actually watch that upper walkway and Taz looking in towards underpass. So Olofmeister unknowingly is essentially pinned right now.
He was safe when the smokes were there. Now, oh my, Taz?
Okay.
Maybe just didn't see him in the... There's a little bit of dark shadow, I guess. Taz, what is going on? That was an incredibly awkward fight. And it'll leave you guessing. Yeah, so now Olofmeister has a bit of annoyance he can play through mid. He tries to almost bait out that he's going towards B, but hopefully VP don't fall for it. Yeah, Neo's already falling over towards CT, so they kind of have a bit of read here. Maybe Bialy hearing steps. The flash goes over towards ramp. That was something that Taz used to do, and it's a beautiful flash as well. Doesn't work out. Didn't catch Flusher on the flash. There was 2 players caught. I think it was Dennis and JW, but now Fnatic have decent step, but they haven't crossed with the bomb yet. There's still play from Snax. There's still play from Neo that could come in here. But Flusher and the others now set up a smoke. They're crossing. Bomb goes down. That's playing for ramp. But Neo denies it. Now look at the time. 5 seconds left.
Snax over the top, easily done. Flusher falls down on JW, sitting over towards T-Connector. Going to have a difficult time of trying to reassert this situation. Wants to cover the bomb defuse, but Snax is there. He knows JW has to go for the peak to keep Fnatic in the round, and VP will get that defuse. All said and done, Fnatic expended a lot of smokes sort of towards mid there as well to allow them to get Olofmeister so deep. When they wanted to execute on that A site, they had one smoke. One smoke. And it was intended to cover off jungle, so Snax couldn't peek, but he was already up on E stairs, and a very quick flick over the top secured him the kill on the bomb planter. VP wrapped it up.
Yeah, Fnatic's money is starting to get really, really poor at this point. They're going to go for the utility over all the weaponry. You've got a Galil coming out, which is quite a rarity. You don't often see it these days, more the UMPs, Tech 9s, such and so on. But let's see what Fnatic go for. We've got the window smoking out from them, not too surprising. Taz is up, I think, on Ladderum or just near short. No, he is on Ladderum, so doubling up with Neo there. So you can kind of just keep control with Neo and leave Fnatic to do what they want for a little while. The rest of the players are fine. You know, you've got Pasha with the AWP over by B. He can keep tabs on that. And GW Crims going to be having a tough time breaking through this. Pasha can take a shot back away, readjust, find a new angle. And Fnatic looking for any weakness here.
Mid was re-smoked to give Fnatic a little bit more time to actually be able to exist in mid without Taz picking them off. But that's about to dissipate here. Now Molotov to follow up. So this is all about Fnatic cutting off the approach to give them this part of the map. They spend a lot of utility on it, and then Neo just peeks out from short there. Olofmeister wasn't ready for it at all. So much invested for Fnatic to have some presence on the map, and it might be all for naught.
If only jump shots worked, Flusher would be a god. But Pasha's the one who's going to have to deal with it all. If he moves, if he second guesses, there's a problem. Love the wide peek then as well. One goes wide, one goes close. you can't kill them both. So Fnatic now get a step towards B. There's still Neo in the way, and Taz is a very quick rotate. Flush is going to try and hinder that as much as he can. He makes noise, tries to do a bit of pressure play. As soon as Flusher gets wind of this, he's going to come around that corner, but no! Taz comes out on top. Well done for him, and now it's just Crims left in a 1v3. I guess not known necessarily for his AWPing, but it's time to shine, and Snax shows him how it's done. And this man, Snax has been such a consistent factor. Can we just hit tab to see what he's up to right now?
16-3.
Just hit tab. Observers, please. Just let's see the scoreboard. Observers, yes. The hard carry is what we call that whenever I'm playing Face It. It's not me doing that. I'm normally around where Bialy is. But 16-3, that's rough. That's.
But you can see why that our conversation around this map is very AWP centric. We are talking about the sniper players. We are talking about early picks, mid control and Snax. He does it again. He's going for a second bite, and he has that as well. More of a smorgasbord for that man. 2 kills with the AWP to start things off, and Olofmeister would be remiss to peek in towards mid, but he's going to have to do it anyway. There's no choice but to try and stand and deliver. Neo is there to deal with what was left of Olofmeister after his team crumbled around him. It's Flusher left now in a 1v4. And the bomb is in mid, a long way away from him, and he'll be caught and cut to the quick as Neo does go for the peek. Neo. Okay, Pasha puts him out of his misery there. A double peek there from VP.
I'm liking this. This is what I want to see, but I still think Fnatic, I want to see them get maybe like 3 more rounds. You know, just get a couple more rounds on the board, just so we get that nice second half. I don't want to have these rounds are actually quite interesting to watch. Don't get me wrong, but I want to see like that fully fledged out game, not that kind of like, all right, one half defines it all. 8-2 is pretty condemning, but it's certainly recoverable. Fnatic have done so. It's not exactly unfathomable to believe, but Snax has been on a tear, and now 3 players try and face off against us. Let's see how they intend to get in towards middle here. Crims, JW, and Olofmeister are about to run the gauntlet. I wonder if Snax sticks around at this point. He's still on window. No, he's backed away now because they're doing the smokes towards A. It's allowed the play to come through, but Taz sees 3 towards mid, so they can respond here. Snax instantly lines 1 up. That's Olof down, but Crims got away, but Neo finds him as well. This is a lovely bit of play from VP. Again, not allowing any play towards mid. No wonder what Fnatic do. It doesn't seem to matter. They pull him away from mid for a second. They try and fake out A, but then it always ends up like this. They lose. All right, there, they lost Taz, but it doesn't really matter when you have 4 alive now. Flusher, have fun.
Through the smoke. It's got to be very decisive for the next few moments. It's a 1 player on B, essentially, for Flusher. So if he gets this pick and is able to move quickly, he'll have a chance to set up. But again, no utility to back that up. There won't be any flashes there for him. Now he's going to be pincered in. There's going to be 1 player at short, 1 around to his right here. Takes the first, now looking for his second. He's got the 1v1, he needs a couple more, but Pasha's there with the AWP. He'll catch him just around a corner of the pallet. A beautiful round for VP. I mean, and this is what I can only shoot in the replay from earlier on. Notice that Bialy also gets involved here. Dennis fell as he tried to make his way through. 3 or 4 players for Fnatic shut down, and there was a lot of smoke involved there. It still didn't help them none.
Nah, it's Snax being on point here. This is the problem. If you can't shut him down, he runs away with it. We saw games for Device like this when he got into it and he was feeling the vibe and he was having these good games. It almost feels like you can't go anywhere. And then you've still got the kind of stopping points on the other side of the map. You've got Pasha having a decent game over by B. He's holding his own. Pasha forced off the angle though, having to play a little bit more passive, but now they just line up for him. Stop it. Stop making it easier for this man to get ridiculous shots. And while it's an easy round so far for VP, but there is still Dennis with a deagle, but it doesn't look as though he can surely you don't cause much more damage. He is Dennis, I guess, and he has seen Taz, but Taz keeps it all in check. 3 more kills for Snax, why not?
Yeah, so I feel like at this point, if we're not identifying that this score from Snax is not only erroneous, but also a little bit ridiculous. 12 rounds and 23 kills, so this is incredible. The impact he's able to have on the map is good, but it's also important to recognize that Fnatic, round after round after round, are pulling 60% of the 66% or whatever. A lot of their resources in towards the middle. It is 60. Yeah. There you go. Maths is hard. Of their resources to the middle of the map. 3 players is what they're using to try and challenge down Snax, and it's not working because he rotates away to connector and has backup from short. They need to try something different, and here they finally are.
Try something different, and you get Bialy being aggressive on ramp. That's the moment you're just like, what can I do?
Bialy's that player against VP. Just when you think you've actually managed to get somewhere against VP, Bialy comes and just backhands you across the face and reminds you of the team you're actually going up against. It's filthy. He's played that spot pretty much all game so far and hasn't had to do much because of that mid-centric focus. But now, he gets involved. It's 2 left for Fnatic. Make that 1, because Snacks has struck
He's
again.
everywhere, but Olaf's going to get a plant. You just got the 1v5 to do. No worries. I believe. Bialy's the first. All right.
Get these 1v1s. That's all he needs. Bialy challenges is felled.
Doesn't actually take too much damage either. Okay, game on now. Nade towards connector.
1 in jungle 2. Pasha will probably peek this first at this stage, unless there's an E-stairs peek from Neo. Flash works, but the aim's not really there. Now there's 3 plays coming towards Olafmeister. Needs to do something about this, and no, just the 1. Neo airborne is dealt with, but Taz was there to back him up. The defuse comes in comfortably, and, well, CS, sometimes the game swings around about Lauren, but 11-2 now, almost mirroring the score we had after 14 rounds on the map of Train earlier on.
This is one thing I'd like to say about VP is that they're a team of such a high caliber that I don't feel as though they'd take that Train result to heart. Sure, it'll be annoying, you'll be frustrated, but it doesn't mean that's going to change how you go into the next map. They're a very capable team of resetting. We've seen how one-sided their results can be and how pretty frustrating that must be for them, but at the end of the day, they're fine for it. Come back in even stronger. It does mean that we hopefully get to see a bit more of them on their T side, but at this point in the scoreline, it doesn't seem like it, because Taz is walking up mid, but Fnatic have changed things up. They've gone for that dry hit towards A. No smokes, no nades, no nothing. Nothing shown until they're already out. It means they can get out earlier. They're already got a player cheating towards CT. Crimson's so ahead of the curve, he's going to catch him out. That's the big player down. Stacks is gone. We're down to 3.
When you play ahead of smokes like this, you pretty much force the CT-sided team into a retake. There's no chance for them to interact with Fnatic while they're planning or while they're setting up, especially if they lose the contact play that Fnatic go for. They're the team that will do that. Bomb down, JW finds Neo as well. He was trying to make his way over the stairs. Same spot he died in the last round. Olafmeister in the sneaky corner. Pasha now falls. 1 by 1, VP is stepping up. 1 by 1, they're being taken down. Now it's Taz's turn. 1 spray, 2 spray. JW and Olafmeister fall. Gonna be getting a smoke on towards the bomb. Needs to defuse now. There's no time, and Dennis will catch him. He knows what Taz is about. He knows he had no other choice but to hold down the button and hope for the best.
Yeah, sounds about right. But we at least have 1 on the board now for Fnatic, and well, should I say, you know, to join the other 2. I want more rounds here. This is what I want. I want to see a competitive, longer game. As much as this is not looking like it just yet, but Fnatic at least give themselves a bit of a glimmer of hope. They can maybe suffer a couple more rounds, but the money's still not great. Flushes down onto the Galil. Now, what they did before, walking without any smokes or flashes, catches you off once, maybe twice. It can work. It's a nice idea, but it's going to force players like Bialy to get up, get up close and just deny that, basically. Just face it, peek it, watch it. Snacks finds Olaf. Bialy could be in trouble, actually. He's got 2 players ahead of him. Now, this is an issue, but he's spraying in towards Dennis, and Dennis comes out on top of this somehow. It's actually not necessarily worked again. It's Virtus.pro giving these fights over a little early and actually trying to make the plays happen for themselves. It doesn't work out in the end, but Neo's going to nade out, molly out, force Flusher off the angle, force him in towards that dark corner, but he's still got other players to find. Pasha's there with him, and he tries to do it all himself, but now it's Neo left in a 1v1. Dennis is only 15 HP.
Flash in. Fully flashed Dennis now. He really needs to respond to this, but he's only just able to see again. Neo goes for the no-scope. Again, another attempt, but the bricks are going to block it, and Dennis responds quickly, straight down at the feet with that AK. 11-4 at the half. Fnatic showing a little bit more flair, perhaps, in the later stages, but VP had them picked, and they had them sorted out in mid. It's going to have to be something Fnatic sort out for the next half. They can't go away all the time on CT. Let's see how it unfolds after the break. Well, it was a strong start in the first half of Virtus.pro getting out of the gates. But now straight back into the pistol for the second round. We're wasting no time whatsoever with this one. Dennis already pushing aggressively here in towards T-ramp.
All right, we've got the A hit coming out. Smoke towards stairs, smoke towards jungle, but you still got to get past Dennis, kind of the first boss en route towards the site. Certainly known for his ability, let's be very honest about that. But the smoke does leave a gap. They spread out the player towards CT, but it's retake time surely for Fnatic here as VP going to put 2 players towards CT already with the Glocks, but taking fights like this is dangerous. Pasha needs to back away from it. But he has got great deals of information now. Spots out at least one of these players coming his way. Snax is on the flank too. Pasha's going to hear all these steps as well. Neo just needs to take a little bit of the heat away, allow Pasha to be played back in, and so far this is a great pistol, and Fnatic caught unawares, and this game might be as quick as the first.
Yeah, problems here for Fnatic. They've lost both pistols in this match, and it shows. Sometimes, you know, I guess if you're a team like FaZe Clan, it doesn't always show when you win that second pretty comfortably. One of my favorite examples, I think, just because it's so weird. But this is really bad for Fnatic. Need to be winning those pistols out, and VP, 2 smokes was all they expended. One towards Connector, one towards Jungle. They're on the side. They're planting. They get tons of information about players in CT, and now we're into the second here. Fnatic have no choice but to force into this one. Again, same problem with Virtus.pro. They're on the CT after that pistol and losing it. They don't get any extra money for a plant or anything, so they can't go for UMPs. Oh, that came from B Courtyard there. That was quite nice. The mid-smoke. Bit of a variation on a theme. But enough for VP to have that mid-control they so clearly desire.
It's only really Pasha and Bialy who have smokes left now. So if they go for this A hit, they can only smoke off 2 places, and Pasha's actually still in mid, so he can do a smoke towards jungle from here, I guess, or connector if he wants to. Maybe a CT one, I'm not too sure. But it does mean it gets a little bit tricky. You've got Dennis on the other side. You don't want to feed to these guys. You're also trying to avoid any sort of stack, of course, and that's where Fnatic put a lot of their money in towards that B hit, maybe expecting or hoping that that comes their way. It's not to be the case. As you can see, VP lining up over by that A site hit, and right about now, here it comes. Dennis gets swept away in one swift move. Crims is also incredibly low on HP, and Pasha's right next to him, and that's the A site under wraps.
Yeah, pretty much the similar story of the first round here. VP, no need for them really to force deep in towards CT. They know the remainder of Fnatic are going to be sort of filtering in through there. They've got all the control they need. They've got 2 flashes and a molly even for this afterplant situation. You cannot ask for much more of your VP. Bialy comes forward. Spray is there. The AKs and UMPs of Virtus.pro make very short work of Fnatic. And now, Fnatic, again, going to have nothing to work with in this round. It is very hard to build an economy as a CT side, and even harder when you're already behind by so much and you lose the pistol. Not ideal.
Nope. Yeah, money for VP is good as well. It's starting to get really nice. They can just stick on the UMPs, go farming. Oh, we got a nice little run boost. Was that a double run boost? Next, do you find 2 people to jump on then? Okay. But still, JW going in through underpass. They only have USPS. There's no flashes, nothing to create anything with, but they have stacked out B. So this gamble could work out unless Taz hears something or JW gets a bit of a glimpse. And look at the timing on this. JW is right behind him. And now he's going to know they're coming up from shore. How much can this one man do, though? This is the question. Olaf Meister's found a bit of work. And now it's all JW. Good luck. You can stop the bomb plant, I guess.
Or can
Here we go. No.
Needs to make sound. Neo fakes it. There's a player watching from short now as well, so wherever JW turns, it's going to be a barrel pointed right at his noggin. Extra money? Not quite, but still Virtus.pro have more than enough to be working with now. They know Fnatic by this round. Very basic for them to sort of ascertain that, but still no interest in going for an AWP. They still want to play fast and loose. They want to play contact with these AKs at least. We'll see if they try and exert mid-control with them. They still can. They know Fnatic can't afford an AWP by this stage. So they'll go there still.
Yeah, why not take the
smoke
fight?
in here.
They're going straight up connector as well if they want to keep doing this. They're going to force Flush to play out of short, and that's why Taz is in that kind of Delpam corner. Just going to be taking the fight. He actually takes a lot of damage from that, so Flush is going to nade out. Maybe gets connection, no, but the trades have come in. So VP have mid-control, but they've actually lost a fair bit. Taz is very low on HP, and they lost out on Snack. So Fnatic, let's see if they can stop this now.
Yeah, VP want probably more than just mid. You know, when they've spent, I guess, so much health and lives, and Pasha. Okay, look, that's a very compromising position to push through, of course. That hidey hole, that little orifice reduces your speed drastically. If you jump in from the CT side, obviously you can sort of strafe in there and be fine, but not ideal. That's, yeah, you're never going to win that.
How VP, where are you going? Okay, so Bialy and Neo are slowly working up short. Flush is not watching from kitchen. Now, Olaf should kill Taz. That's a given. Should be a given. But the bomb can be planted.
Any given day.
Oh, God. Oh, the timing. This feels awkward. This feels very awkward. So, okay, now Olaf's position is noted, but they've won out on B. That's the big factor here. If they can get the bomb down quickly, that's great, but oh, the Molly's going to come in. Yeah, that's going to slow things down here. Allow time for Crims and Dennis to get over. They're still not 100% sold on a B&B plant. Now they are. Now it's game on. The problem is, how do you deal with Olaf Meister? He's in such an uncompromising position. And Bialy spots him, but there's still two other players to worry about. Neo's got the cross out from kitchen, possibly, but this is going to be tough to play from. Bialy finds one, but now it's all on Neo, and the timing is not on his side. And Olaf Meister makes the play at the perfect time for him. Going to get the job done. Surprised they got the bomb down and so much damage dealt from the position they were in, but still, Fnatic get one on the board now. This is stabilizing time for them.
Something I enjoy so much about what we just saw from Olaf Meister there as well, he was delayed by a Molotov, right? There was a Molotov thrown in towards the apartment buildings, but Olaf Meister correctly identifies that he can actually nullify the effect of that Molotov by throwing one of his own properly. He then causes the bomb planter to have to waste time, and that way, the bomb planter's like, well, Olaf is going to be there at the same time as I am now. You know, it's a transaction, right? You lose time from the molly, but you buy some back by using one of your own wells. So that was a really nice little touch from Olaf Meister. Centimeter perfect placement now. Speaking of which, smoking towards mid, not one you expect these teams to miss. A little bit of spam from JW, but doesn't really find its mark on Pasha, the sole player in mid.
Oh. Speaking of things you don't expect to miss, but the point is that smoke goes into window from spawn, which is quite nice. It's a little bit tougher to do, but it's a nice addition to have. It can be missed.
I think VP can do it from, they can do it from B courtyard, they can do it from spawn and from mid.
It seems like they got it for everything, just to allow a little bit of extra play, keeping eyes towards it. But this is like a 2-on-2. This is very weird. I think they're trying to... I don't know what Neo and Snacks are up to. That's what I want to be looking at, because they're the integral factors here. Dennis is in the kind of goblin boxes, which... Well, Snacks peeks it, but now they've seen the bomb. So you can see JW and Crims instantly responding. They're both kind of coming around to this, and they know the only other access point so far is through Connector, where they've seen or heard these other VP players, but JW's forced to play a little bit passively. Maybe he's going to catch out Pasha here. Bomb's been planted, and no, Pasha just gives it away back to him, and now Taz is in mid. He can maybe jump up towards window if he wants to be able to get the jump across, but Neo facing out towards ramp just loses out on it. Now this is a problem. Bialy and Taz have to try and keep hold of this, and Bialy, that shot is sick. Olaf Meister is going to be left reeling after that one. But where is Taz in this? Just from the same spot as well. It's planted for short for this connector area. They can make it work, and Bialy is playing out of his mind. He's on 4 HP, but it shouldn't matter. Taz is still there, and timing is everything. If Flusher wants to fight, he shouldn't be giving it, and Taz will lock it down the end, but that was all Bialy.
Not only was he in the perfect after-plant position there as well, but he stays alive. He gets the spray on the player in CT. That was so important because Virtus.pro, the last two players, were set up towards mid and connector. If you leave that CT player alive, it's very, very hard for you to interact, and it's going to automatically give Fnatic a 2v1 situation, or at least some sort of crossfire for the player that's defusing. There's always going to be the backup of the player there towards CT. Very important pick. JW, though, Deagle to turn things around. It was that late flash in towards mid that keeps VP at bay for now. And Flusher is also looking for more, but he won't find it. Bialy's going to be ready to receive. 4 Fnatic players, 4 pistols make it 3, as JW can't get any more in mid.
Bialy's just starting to feel it now. That's 2 big kills. Pasha's going walkabout. So there is a bit of a threat in the form of Crims, but he might be checked on here. If Pasha looks deep enough, he doesn't. So Crims gets away with a little bit now. And hopefully Pasha learns his lesson. He does find Dennis there, and now it's down to Olaf and Crims. Now, no one's checked on this area. You can see Taz being very cautious. He's careful of the upper piece there. Crims actually dropped down towards dark, been quite quiet about it, but he's going to be forced out sooner rather than later. He's going to find the bomb, but nothing more. Tries to pick up the gun, trying to switch out, get some safety in towards ramp, swing back around, but it's left in the hands of Olaf Meister. This could be it. This could be all she wrote for Fnatic in this matchup.
Oh, CZ, the Olaf Meister doesn't even connect that one at all, and Taz swats him away. VP recover very nicely after that first map. They split the series 1 apiece. Both of these two teams will maintain very similar positions thus far in the ESL Pro League. But for more on that and more, we're going to head over to the desk with Moses and the crew to break it all down.
Well, there's life in the old dogs yet.
Yeah.
Virtus.pro take that map 16-5. A stunning victory. The reverse stomp onto Fnatic. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, what a difference a map makes. Chad said they couldn't bounce back.
I
He
didn't
did
say
say
that at all.
that. Chad did say that. He also
Definitely
said
said it.
all in on the Fnatic hype train forever.
So what have you say for yourself?
If you're just tuning in, don't listen to these two idiots. Go watch the pre-show. That's not what I said.
Let's get into it,
Yeah,
shall we?
let's dive right in.
So, as predicted, Snack's picking up the AWP there on the CT side, and what a show he put on for us, Jason. That was actually quite beautiful.
You were gloating a bit about that.
I
Thank
was.
you,
It was a
Snack.
very good point, I thought, when I made it. So he felt like he was absolutely everywhere, right? On the retakes, he's in the perfect positions, he's getting the opening frags. We saw a mixture of aggression from them as well. Fnatic, their defaults weren't really working out for them, losing the initial frag every time. The executes had gaps in them, the smokes weren't perfectly deployed. And as soon as they tried to change things up and go for the set pieces at the start, that's when Virtus.pro actually bringing fast plays towards A-Ramp. Bialy finding the first pick that's taking someone down. It's just a nightmare for them on that first half. They did pick up a couple of rounds here and there. They got the 11-4, but that was down to, as we kind of said in the pre-game, they'll fall back to the contact plays towards the bomb sites. Just use brute force to get to a bomb site around their aims, which is very good, obviously, but it's not really enough to win you a game. That's good for a couple of rounds here or there.
Chad, what do you think? I mean, Henry's point was that the third best player of 2016 was going to have a good game.
And he was
It's
right.
a pretty good point.
Wow, really good prediction there, right? No, I think being very active on the CT side is a good thing. You don't want to be dictated to all the time, especially on a map like Mirage. And we saw them bringing in some very versatile strats. But something we do have to touch on is Fnatic's T side. We should have said this in the pre-show. But they struggled against Immortals in Katowice. The T side was abysmal. Their CT side was fantastic. They were able to put a lot of rounds on the board, and then they lost a massive comeback because they couldn't convert some simple rounds. I like the ideas they had. They just had, they never had like a bailout strategy, right? They never had a set execute that they could do off the cuff. It always looked like, let's establish some control on the map, maybe try a fake, maybe try a split. But because Snax was so good with the AWP, they never had full numbers to actually hit the site.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Snacks was, what, 30-8, I think, on that map. Sometimes those performances you just can't compete against. Yeah, is this a little bit of the... I mean, if you go back to Katowice to talk about their struggles on the T side against Immortals, like you just mentioned, is this a situation where maybe Fnatic, the gaps in the smoke, just not used to these kind of maybe executes, this more style they're trying to get into a little bit?
Maybe, you know, they're having more direction. It's not so free-flowing. The rounds that they did win, like they picked up the double AWPs on the T side, and Olaf went and got like a mid pick straight away, and then they got shut down pretty quickly in that regard. Probably once you set the base for that loose style, that's when you want to set into strategies, not after you start losing rounds, because it becomes very obvious that, hey, they haven't thrown a full execute at us. That's most likely what's going to happen, and they make the right adjustment. That's what we talk about with pacing on the CT side as well, or you know, making sure you stay in control. But I didn't realize that he had so many frags. Like we always saw him getting the kills, but 31-8 that's unreal. Like that's
with only 21 rounds played as well.
That's pretty dirty.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, we knew, and we talked about that even JW would be the one who had success playing that kind of style, the AWP, you know, over towards mid, but it's Snacks who
Never really had a chance to do.
never had a chance. What can you say about that?
Well, that's what we said going into on train. Like we never got to see a T half from the other guys, but
makes you wonder,
reverse.
right? If they'd had a little bit more cushion and going in, if they had to play that T side, if VP had a little bit more cushion, would they have been able to actually, you know, bring that back into their control?
Yeah.
The world may never know.
We will never know.
Well, first map is 16-2 in the way of Fnatic on Train. Second map is 16-5 Virtus.pro bouncing back on Mirage. The next matchup we have is the hot match of the week. It is going to be North taking on Astralis, the two best Danish teams that we have facing off when we return. So stay tuned.